Folks, anyone who knows anything about what's happening in the country now knows why Tucker was taken off the air. We know why Tucker was taken off the air. Tucker was taken off the air because he was the only voice in mainstream US TV who was speaking up for Julian Assange. He was the only voice in mainstream US TV that was speaking up about continuing to send weapons to Ukraine and escalating war with Russia. He was taken off TV because he was the only voice that was speaking up for the Uhuru movement and opposing very loudly the U.S. Department of Justice labeling them as Russian agents and threatening them with a decade in prison just for speaking up. He was taken off the air because he's had voices on his show like Anya Parampil and Max Blumenthal, Dan Kovalik, Deirdre Griswold. That's why he was taken off the air. That is why he was taken off the air. And we all know this to be true. However, since he was taken off the air, we have now been flooded with a new version of events. Now we are told, oh yes, he had Tulsi Gabbard on very frequently. We are now told Tucker Carlson was taken off the air because he used a certain four-letter word. You believe that? We are told that Tucker Carlson was taken off the air because he mistreated women, we are told. Well, folks, Tucker Carlson has been in TV a long time. And Me Too, as a movement, really got going in about 2017, 2018. So if Tucker Carlson were a sexual harasser, verbal abuser, I think they would have taken him off the air a long time ago. Fox in particular has had issues with that, with Roger Ailes, with Bill O'Reilly. And I think if that were the reason to take Tucker off the air, this would have happened a long time ago. We all know that the timing of Tucker's departure and the reason for Tucker's departure is related to the content that Tucker was having on his program. The segments he did with Jimmy Dore, the powerful segments he did with Jimmy Dore, the powerful segments he did with Tulsi Gabbard. That's why they took him off the air. But they would rather not admit that. Oh, no, they would rather not admit that. No. They would rather not admit that. And so what are they doing? They're trying to tell us that he was removed from the air because he mistreated women and because he used a certain four-letter word. I believe he did say that four-letter word, and I do not endorse that four-letter word. It's a hateful, misogynistic term. But that's not why he was removed from the air. Tucker had Tara Reid on several times. That's not why Tucker Carlson lost his program on Fox. Folks, I believe one of the most dysfunctional aspects of our society, and I'll let you read into why and figure out why for yourself. I don't even know why. I can't tell you why. Maybe somebody who's a feminist or has done research on gender relations, or maybe they can figure out why this is. But it seems like for a long time, it seemed like the United States was run by very vengeful men, right? We love guns, we love firearms, we have the death penalty. It seemed like for a long time, the United States was run by very, very vengeful men, right? And that's not good, right? The obsession with violence, the firearms, the death penalty, the war, the militarism. It seemed like the USA was run by very vengeful, angry men. However, it seems like in the past 4 or 5 years, U.S. culture has shifted from being run by vengeful, angry, proud, punitive, violent men to now being run by obnoxious high school girls. And this isn't a man versus women thing. Because, when America was run by vengeful, violent men, it was awful, right? Let's not, I'm not defending that. This might be an improvement, honestly, to tell you the truth. And there are plenty of high school girls. There's plenty of women of all different ages that are not obnoxious. So it's not an issue with women, right? There's plenty of old women, plenty of young women, plenty of high school-aged women that are pleasant human beings. But we really do seem to be run as a country by the mean girls. We seem to be run by obnoxious, ditzy, mean girls. Because they just took someone off the air. Someone who was the only voice that was strong enough on mainstream TV, despite all of their flaws, which, trust me, a lot to criticize there with Tucker. But despite all of Tucker's flaws, he was the only voice that was saying, hey, maybe World War III is not a good idea. He's been removed from the air. And what is now the response to Tucker's removal? The response is, oh my God, like he was a creeper. Like, oh my God, he was always using like rude words and like, oh, he was like gross. It was like, oh my God, I'm just so good looking and I'm like so sexy. And like, he wanted to go out with me. He like totally sexually harassed me. Oh my God, he's like such a gross creeper. Oh my God, like he totally deserved to be fired because he was always like looking at me funny from across the room. And it's like so uncomfortable. Oh my God, he's like so creepy. Oh my God. And like, that's why he deserved to be fired. That is the country that we have turned into now. That is the country that we have turned into. In the past, there have been many mainstream TV hosts who have lost their shows. Phil Donahue lost his TV show because he criticized the war in Iraq. NBC fired Phil Donahue, one of the most popular TV hosts. Phil Donahue lost his TV show because he dared to say he didn't support the invasion of Iraq. He didn't believe the weapons of mass destruction. When they got rid of Phil Donahue, they didn't frame it as, oh my God, Phil Donahue touched women, and oh my God, Phil Donahue, he taught. No, they were honest about what they said. Well, he's not supporting the country. He's being anti-American. They were, we were still in our vengeful, angry man phase as a country. They'd be like, well, and they did. I think they took the show away from, what's his name? Politically Incorrect. Bill Maher. They took Bill Maher's show away. And it was a similar thing. After 9/11, he said that, well, you can't. He made some comments about 9/11 I'm not going to repeat. and they took his show away, and they said, well, people need to watch what they say. Again, we're in this vengeful, angry man phase. But now instead, as a country, our culture and our mindset has changed so much that we have gotten, as a country, to the place where the way we respond to dissidents, the way we respond to our political rivals, is the manner of some kind of demented, mean girls high school behavior. We can't say he had editorial differences with Fox. We can't say that his content was pushing the boundaries and endangering Fox's relationship with the deep state or with advertisers. We can't say that. Now we have to spread rumors. We have to denigrate his character. We have to throw sexual innuendo in it. We have to giggle. He used naughty words. This is how we've become as a society. We saw how AOC responded to it. This is deeply unhealthy. This is deeply unhealthy. But it is a sign of a bigger problem. Because for many people in this country, there are no principles anymore. There are no rights and wrongs. There is no real truth. Everything is just a matter of positioning yourself. Everything is just a matter, it's all a big popularity contest. And it's all a matter of positioning yourself. Who are you standing next to? Who is approving of you? Who likes you? Who do you want to be associated with? Who do you not want to be associated with? It's all just a matter of being associated with, being attached to the beautiful people and being far away from the not beautiful people. It's all just a big charade. It's all just a big charade. It's all just a big charade. And that is what enables them to do things like they are doing. Because when they fired Phil Donahue, when they fired Ed Schultz from MSNBC, when they got rid of various voices that were critical of the establishment or whatever, they didn't respond this way because it wouldn't have worked. No one would have believed that they got rid of Phil Donahue because he used the C word. No one would have believed that they got rid of Ed Schultz because he used the C word. But nowadays, the culture has changed to the point that we now believe that it is our job to position ourselves and to virtue signal and to try and make ourselves look as good as possible. And we don't want to dare associate ourselves with anything that's got gross or ugly attached to it. And it seems like the primary way they target people nowadays is by attaching gross or ugly to their name. And that therefore makes whatever happens to them justified. For example, for revolutionaries facing indictment, they could go to jail for 10 years. 3 of them are from the Uhuru movement. 1 of them is from an organization called Black Hammer. And that organization, Black Hammer, has been all over social media for years, and they've done a lot of stunts for social media that I do not approve of. That doesn't matter. It does not matter. They've done a lot of stupid things on social media. Who cares? Who cares? Well, a lot of people on social media seem to care because that is the reason people aren't speaking up for them. And in fact, the Uhuru movement, a completely separate organization that I have defended before they were indicted, the response of Vosh and all those people was to say that they were Black Hammer because of some social media stupidity. And that, in their audience's mind, made it okay for the FBI to raid these people's homes. Just like we're supposed to be okay with Tucker being silenced because he allegedly used 4-letter words, we are now supposed to be okay with the government telling us that freedom of speech is sowing discord and spreading Russian propaganda. So therefore, we're supposed to be okay with them imprisoning Black revolutionaries for 10 years because of some rude behavior on the internet, of some offensive behavior that was designed to trigger people and generate controversy on the internet. We are supposed to be okay with the fact that all of us who have anti-imperialist views, all of us who have anti-imperialist views, could be imprisoned now. They could jail any of us for what we say about the war in Ukraine. They could throw Jimmy Dore in jail. They could throw Tara Reid in jail. They could throw Max Blumenthal in jail. They could imprison every single person who attended the Rage Against the War Machine for sowing discord, for acting as a Russian agent, for spreading Russian propaganda. They could imprison all of us. But we're supposed to be okay with that precedent being set. Why? Why? Because one of the people who's indicted is associated with a group that did some gross stuff on social media. This is the Mean Girls strategy. At one point, when our government was operating in the vengeful, angry man phase, they would have just said, well, these are communists. They're traitors to our country. And that would have been enough. But now, as a culture, we've become the way we are that, oh my God, they're like gross. Like, I wouldn't stick up for them if I was you because, like, oh my God, do you want people to think that you're one of them? And that's what they do. That is what they do now. They target individuals. They lie about individuals. They spread rumors about individuals and exaggerations about individuals. They take things out of context. And then they go after people, and everyone is supposed to be okay with it because you don't want people to be associated. Do you want to be associated with, oh my God, this is the game that they play. And if anything, it indicates that as a society, our brains have rotted to some degree or other, but it also indicates kind of the toxic nature of social media. That all of us are being judged 24 hours a day. All of us are being rated 24 hours a day. All of us are constantly having our self-worth put on trial 24 hours a day. All of us are constantly being told whether or not our behavior is worth praising or opposing. And this is extremely disturbing.